Shankaram. Friends, today's topic is integral yoga. We know yoga, but our understanding of yoga, I wonder whether it is complete. Yoga is not connected only with body. Yoga is not only to put the body into asanas. Yoga is to make a man or woman a better woman or a better man. Body should be healthier, mind should be happier, intellect should be sharper, and the entire man should be very, very happy, absolutely happy, always happy, fully happy, no inconvenience, no difficulty, no want, no deficiency, no defect. That is wholesome yoga. For this, we have basically in our body three components. All the three are integral parts of the body. Without the heart, there cannot be a man. So heart is an integral part of the man. There cannot be a person without the head and brain. Head and brain are the integral parts of the person. And we have the five senses. All the five senses should be intact. Then it is a full person. Otherwise, he is a handicapped person, an incomplete person, a defective person. First, let us presume the body is fully equipped with the three major components: body, mind, and intellect. Having got these three components, one is unwell. Body is quite okay. It has all the parts. All the parts are very well functioning. They are all comfortable. But mind is not happy. It is lost in depression. There is worry, there is anxiety, there is tension, there is fear. Then we are not yogis. It is not full yoga. A fool may be happy in his own foolish paradise. But that happiness is not complete because he is an innocent fellow. His brain is not intelligent enough to understand the higher truths. He can be easily deceived by somebody, cheated by somebody. He does not know what is right, what is wrong, what is permanent, what is impermanent. Then also he is not a full person. The brain should be very sharp and should know the truth. Mind should be very, very happy always. And man should have the health always. If all the three components are good, sound, harmoniously well, then it is integral yoga. I do not know if Rajendran is teaching all the three aspects. You come here, you perform your physical asanas, and that is not complete yoga. We continue to have our problems. We continue to have our fears. We do not know the truth. Then it is not full yoga. Yoga is to make us fully, always happy at every level. Now, one by one, we shall analyze. I walk. I have not seen a bicycle. I only walk. One day, one gentleman has brought the bicycle. He asked me sit on the carrier behind. When I sat, he was riding. I felt sitting on the bicycle is more comfortable. Walking is difficult. Sitting behind the rider, pillion rider, it's wonderful. If I walk for half an hour to cover half a kilometer or 1/4 kilometer, I can cover that distance more comfortably by a bicycle. Once I taste the ride on the bicycle, I don't want to walk because I am able to go earlier and I am able to go with greater comfort. As long as I don't taste the higher comfort, I am content with the lower one. After riding the bicycle for some time, somebody has brought a Luna, TVS 50. Now, when I am on the TVS 50 or the Luna or the moped, it runs faster. I need not pedal. There is still greater comfort. I don't want to use the bicycle then. Bicycle also involves some strain. Then after some time somebody gives me a Royal Enfield, more comfortable, faster, happier, walking, bicycle, moped, and you come to a bigger vehicle. Somebody has given a Jeep, a car, AC car, imported car, aircraft. When you taste the higher pleasure, you don't want the lower pleasure. Yoga takes you from the lower level to the highest level. Body will go to the highest level of comfort, health, always, at all times. Mind also is taken to the highest level. Intellect also is sharpened very wonderfully. Body is known to us. Heart or mind is known to us. Intellect or brain is known to us. Soul, let us forget about it. Self, we forget about it. Body is known, and now and then it is giving me trouble. Now and then it is not comfortable. Therefore, yoga is the remedy to give greater comfort and convenience to the body. Mind now and then gets depressed. Yoga is the way which keeps it always delightful. Brain is now and then dull. It is unable to understand. It is unable to grasp the higher truths. Now, yoga makes the brain sharper and sharper. If all the three components are made to their highest perfection, led to their unique perfection, then it is called integral yoga, wholesome yoga, full yoga, harmonious yoga, complete yoga, Raymond's complete man. The man at every part is well stitched, the suit, perfect at every aspect. And that perfection, that uniqueness of perfection is the aim of yoga. In the Upanishads, there is a story. The story is that of a great rishi. This rishi has 12 children. One day, the 12 children went to their father and asked, "Daddy, what shall we do?" Daddy said, "My dear children, you become the best. rise to the highest, achieve the greatest, know the subtlest truth, be always happy, enjoy the highest position. Then the sons asked, Daddy, highest, greatest, best, supreme, unique, you say. What is that? You know for yourself. You investigate. And they all sat together. One man said, village administrative officer is the highest position. No, no. Revenue inspector is greater than that. No. There is a position greater than that, Tahsildar. No. There is a position higher than that, sub-collector. Next, additional collector. Next, collector. Next, secretary, chief secretary. And when you come to the highest position, you come to the prime minister. There is somebody else, president, only to a particular country, to the entire world, to the entire globe, to the entire universe. What is that position? Brahma. He is the creator. And all the other two aspects also, when they are embodied in him, he becomes Trimurti Swarupa, to create, to maintain, and to dissolve. Every person must be perfect in creation, must be excellent in maintenance, and very much sharp and detached while dissolving. We are doing the three activities regularly. We create, we maintain, and we dissolve. I start my talk at a particular time, continue it for a particular period, complete it at a particular state. Commencement, continuation, completion, 3 C's. The first commencement is creation. The second continuance is maintenance, governance. The third completion is dissolution. That creation is A. That continuation is U. That completion is Ma. A, U, Ma make Om. Om is the symbol of Brahman. What does Brahman do? He or she or it creates, sustains, and dissolves. The person or the object or the thing which does these three things completely, perfectly, uniquely is the highest position. Therefore, let us become that. Aham Brahmasmi. Thou art that. You reach that highest position. These 12 children sat round and they started meditating upon that. Aham Brahmasmi. The bodies perished and they became the Brahman. Each person created a galaxy. That's why Aditya, Surya, the Dvadasaditya, each creation has one Surya. Each person is capable of creating his own world, unique world. This is the highest that a person can achieve. That is to be achieved through yoga. Then man decides, I must be the President of India. I must be the multi-millionaire. I must be the happiest person. I must live forever. I must know the truth about the entire universe. All must. That means I have decided, I have determined to become the greatest. This determination, fixation of the goal, is the quality of the willpower. Every man or woman is blessed with the willpower. First willpower, tomorrow morning there is a class at 7 o'clock. I shall go there at 7. Willpower. Tonight at 2 o'clock from Bombay airport there is a flight to San Francisco. And to be in the airport at 2 o'clock, I must start at 12 o'clock. Therefore, I must keep awake. Determination. This determination is a part of human structure. We have the decision-making capacity. I am fat, I must become slim. I am sick, I must become healthy. I am sorrowful, I must become happy. I am poor, I must become rich. All these qualities are called the qualities of determination. And every person determines. A beggar in his capacity, today I will go to 2 streets and I am determined to earn 200 rupees. A thief has his determination. Today I shall cut the pocket of dozen people and make 1000 rupees. Determination. Today I will speak on this topic till 8:30. Determination. By evening I complete my domestic work. Determination. Every person has a quality in him or in her, and that is called determination. This determination has another word, willpower. First you think of the goal, and you decide to reach that goal, and that decision, that determination is called willpower. Whether we are a man of China or Japan, Russia or India, determination is common to every person. In some people it is strong, in some people it is weak. When it is strong, it is called Raja Yoga. That's all, very simple. In ordinary people, it is weak. I shall wake up at 5 o'clock, but at 5 o'clock I sleep. That means my determination is not strong. Just a little self-boasting. In my entire career, I have never used an alarm timepiece. Even when I was a student, I never used an alarm timepiece. Tomorrow morning at 3 o'clock, I must wake up and complete my mathematics homework. I tell myself at 10 o'clock in the night, mind, wake up at 3, wake up at 3, wake up at 3. And without the alarm time, it's exactly at 3 o'clock I can wake up. It is my willpower. It is my determining capacity. Some people tell the mind, wake up at 3 o'clock, but sleep. That means willpower is not strong. Raja Yoga is the yoga through which you strengthen your willpower. There is nothing like God in it. There is nothing like a religion in it. There is no superstition in it. Whether it's Einstein or Newton, Adi Shankara or Madhvacharya, any person does use this willpower. When it is used precisely, when it is used perfectly, when it is used with all determination to achieve the goal, then it is called Raja Yoga. Patanjali has popularized that Raja Yoga. Mr. Rajendran here is trying to popularize that Raja Yoga. He wants people to come at a particular time. He wants to observe the asanas in a particular method. He imposes the discipline. When we impose the discipline on ourselves, it is called self-discipline. When somebody imposes discipline on us, we don't like it. We revolt. Self-discipline with a determination to reach the highest is called Raja Yoga. It is one of the 5 yogas. What are those 5 yogas? One is the yoga of determination, yoga of decision making, yoga of willpower, yoga of Raja. Raja yoga. Raja means royal. It has no connection with any religion or superstition. This Raja yoga is the basic structure because everybody decides. This Raja yoga has 8 angas, 8 parts, 8 limbs, 8 steps, 8 levels. They are yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana and samadhi. Samadhi is the highest, wherein you are always happy, perfectly happy, immensely happy, absolutely happy, intensely happy, all round a happy person, no want, no defect, no imperfection. That state you reach through that. What is the first step for that? Yama. Yama means discipline, nothing else. Discipline is threefold. Discipline of place. 2, discipline of time. 3, discipline of procedure. Willpower is Raja Yoga. When you sharpen that will, discipline, you cannot achieve anything. In physics, there is a discipline. In learning a subject, there is a discipline. First, you learn the alphabet. Everywhere you have a step-by-step discipline. Discipline of place, discipline of time, discipline of procedure. Next, you have niyama. Niyama is a principle that you take up. You choose one principle. I keep my house clean and tidy, neat and tidy. It's a principle. I give every month 2,000 rupees as donation to an organization, a principle. I wake up early in the morning at 4 o'clock every day, a principle. That principle strengthens your willpower. Next, you have settle down with the yama and with the principle, then you are comfortable for your sadhana. Next stage, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, regulated life, not only the nostrils. Your income and expenditure are regulated. Your breathing is regulated. Your lifestyle is regulated. When the lifestyle is regulated, there is no BP. You are not in a hurry. Your income and expenditure, when they are planned properly, there is no loss. There is no defect. That pranayama means regulated life. In pranayama, the principle is you breathe in as slowly as possible, breathe out as slowly as possible. If you take 3 minutes to breathe in, you take a little more than that for breathing out. You earn money, spend a little more on the welfare activities, service. Everywhere, your contribution should be more, your acquisition should be less. Don't ask what the country has done to you, you ask what you have done to the country. Don't ask what the wife has done to you, ask what you have done to the wife. Don't ask what Rajendran has given to you, you ask what you have given to Rajendran. At every level, breathe out must be more, breathe in must be less. Income and expenditure, and that is yajna. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, regulated life, pratyahara and dharana. Eliminate the unwanted, pratyahara. Assimilate the wanted, dharana. And then When you do it, you are fixed in your life, determined in your life, you have a smooth life, dhyana. When you are leading such methodical, disciplined, determined life, you reach at one point of time, samadhi, your life is blissful. This is one yoga. Is it complete? How about my feelings, sir? Feelings always want pleasures. Mind seeks pleasure. It's common, very, very common, very simple. I want to eat good food, delicious food, tasty food, nutritious food, healthy food. It's my desire. I want to see a good film. I want to have the good fragrance. I want to listen to good music. I would like to lie down in cushions. I would like to have AC, all sense pleasure. Mind wants pleasure. It's quite simple with every human being. I don't want to sleep on the floor. I want U-foam bed. I do not want to eat the rugged food. I would like to eat the sophisticated, soft, sweet. It's quite simple. Let us imagine. I want the pleasures of the body. Pleasures of the body are 5. Pleasure of the nose, pleasure of the tongue, pleasure of the ear, pleasure of the eye, pleasure of the touch body. Every pleasure I do want to have. There is a man, he has a son. The son is about 30 years. He has passed his MPhil examination, also got his PhD degree. Father is hopeful that the son would get good job. Every time he was giving money to the son to make an application to a job. When he applies for a dozen jobs, he will be called for an interview. One of the 12 places will call him for an interview. To go and attend the interview, father is approached again. He would pay 1,000 rupees and he returns without getting selection. Hundreds of interviews he attended, nowhere he was getting the selection. Father initially gave money with happiness, with hope that the son would get a job. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. When 100 interviews have failed, father lost interest. And he started scolding the son, "You useless idiot. You are a burden, you are a nuisance, you are a spendthrift. You are of no use to me. You cannot get a job. You are a condemned idiot." Father gets angry. The result is son avoids father. Father does not want to look at the son. In ordinary families, a good festive day like Diwali, mother continues to love the son. This fellow has avoided the house because father is at home that day. That day, if the son is also present, father goes on scolding the idiot. Therefore, to avoid the father, the son has gone out. Mother has prepared sweets, rasgulla. She has prepared the hivada. And she is waiting for her son. Poor mother loves the child. Father has eaten at about 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. He has gone to his room to have a nap. Now mother is waiting for the son to come and eat the special food. The son from the back door, opening the kitchen door, entered the room. Mother was waiting, gave him food. He was eating. While eating, from his plate, the glass tumbler fell. It produced sound. That sound disturbed the man who was sleeping father. Immediately he could understand, has that shameless, unemployed dog come to eat? He shouted from his bedroom. He used 3 words. Has that shameless, unemployed dog has come to eat? The boy is sensitive. The food is tasty, pleasure of eating. But he does not eat. The pleasures of the body cannot be enjoyed by a person of self-respect. When the self-respect is wounded, I am invited to a place, I am taking food, that old idiot, let him eat. One lady is telling from the kitchen, I don't eat. We are sensitive. We do have the self-respect. Are we able to indulge in the sense pleasures when our self-respect is wounded? Self-respect is different from sense pleasure. Sense pleasures are of the body nature. Self-respect is psychological. When that self-respect is wounded, touched, disturbed, I don't feel like enjoying the pleasures of the body. I don't want them. When my wife does not give me coffee with the usual smile, I don't take the dirty coffee. Coffee is same. Yesterday's coffee was given with a smile. Today's coffee is given with anger. I don't touch it. There is no difference in the body. There is no difference in the coffee, but the mood is different. Mood is psychological. Self-respect. So, bodily pleasures cannot be continued if self-respect is wounded. There is something higher than the sense pleasure. Mahatma Gandhi had the physical comforts when he was in South Africa. He was traveling by the first class, but his self-respect was wounded. He gave up his profession. He gave up his physical comforts. He loved motherland. He hated the foreigner. He thought, I must drive the foreigner out and declare independence to my country. For that, every pleasure is sacrificed. Mother does not eat rasgulla because it is dangerous to her son baby. Sacrifices her pleasures. A student who is preparing for the examinations sacrifices the sleep. Physical pleasures are secondary. There is a higher thing. Now that boy in the story, he did not take rasgulla, he did not take dahi vada, he was wounded, he felt the self-respect disturbed, so he walked out. As soon as he went, a dog came. And that dog is eating the rasgulla. Dog is eating the dahi vada. Now the mother says, you shameless dog, how many times should I ask you not to come through the back door? How many times should I tell you not to touch the food here? Does the dog care for her words? No, it goes on eating. So a man or woman who is enjoying the pleasures of the body is animal. We are not animals. Animals are satisfied with the physical pleasures. Human beings are not satisfied with the physical pleasures. We do want. When do we want? When our self-respect is given priority. When somebody loves me. When I love. Love is psychological. Therefore, pleasures of the body are the lowest. From the pleasures of the body, we go to a higher level, and that is your psychological enjoyment. Psychological enjoyment is two types, positive, negative. What is negative psychological enjoyment? My rival in the business is destroyed. I am very happy. I am a student. My rival is there in the classroom. That boy has failed in the examination. I am very happy. Another girl has lost her husband. I am very happy. This is a negative enjoyment. A capitalist country is enjoying when the communist country is dwindling. A communist country is enjoying when the capitalist country loses its economy. One man enjoys when another man is suffering. This is negative pleasure, negative enjoyment. There are other people, positive enjoyment. I am happy when others are happy. When my daughter becomes an IPS, an IAS, I am really very happy. When my country is liberated from the slavery, I am very happy. When all the people are benefited, whoever comes to the yoga center becomes very healthy. I don't mind losing my property, I don't mind losing my time, I don't mind losing my energy. A good teacher is happy when his students come up. A good mother is happy when her children rise. This is positive enjoyment. This positive enjoyment of the mind is superior to the physical pleasures of the animal. Yoga is to take you from lower level of happiness to higher level of happiness. Physical pleasures are at the lower level. Psychological enjoyment, emotional enjoyment is at the higher level. When that level also is transcended, it is called intellectual happiness. You analyze. My emotional enjoyment is not permanent. I brought up the daughter, and this daughter has forgotten me after her marriage with a man. She is my daughter, no doubt. I have sacrificed all my pleasures for her. She has come up. After becoming the husband of Mr. X, she has ignored me, neglected me. Is it right or wrong? Is it not right on her part to be devoted to her husband? Use your brain. You understand the truth. Then, yes, my daughter is 100% right. She should be a pativrata. She should be devoted to her husband. There is nothing wrong even if I am neglected. I am proud of my daughter because I understand the truth about her behavior. Then it is not emotional enjoyment, it is intellectual happiness. When you know the truth about something, you are more happy. Pleasure, enjoyment, and happiness. Happiness is intellectual. When you know the truth about it, and that truth you will learn through your brain power, intellect. When you know that truth through your intellect, it is called Jnana Yoga. When your enjoyment takes you from the lowest to the highest, it is Bhakti Yoga. When the physical comforts are taken to the highest and you are established in the lasting comfortableness, then it is Raja Yoga. Now, your intellect sharpens, reveals the truth, that gives you happiness. There is higher than that another thing. More than the intellectual happiness. Einstein, Sir Isaac Newton, you will find Sir C.V. Raman, mathematics genius Sir Ramanujan. All these people are able to understand the value of intellect. They are able to get the truth. They are able to be happy. An ordinary man does not understand them. For example, Sir C.V. Raman was a great scientist. He was an intellectual genius. He was spending major part of his time in the laboratory doing research. Every day from the house he would get the carrier food. A servant boy would bring the food. Sir C.V. Raman would be doing his research laboratory work. About 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock he would feel a little hungry. He would open the carrier, he would eat it. The boy who has brought the food, he is waiting for Raman. He does not have any intellectual thing. What does the servant boy want? He wants only food. What does Sir C.V. Raman want? He wants only laboratory work, intellectual work, investigation into truth. Sir C.V. Raman considers food to be second rate, third rate. For the servant boy, food is most important because he does not have any intellectual pursuit. There is no emotional longing. He wants only food, animal-like. A dog looks at a piece of mutton. This boy was waiting one day. 1 o'clock, C.V. Raman did not open the carrier and eat. 2 o'clock, he did not open. 3 o'clock, he did not open. This old man doesn't seem to be hungry at all. When is he to eat? Only after his eating, I can eat. One day, at about 1 o'clock, this servant boy was very hungry. He could understand the psychology of the Sir C.V. Raman. He took the carrier to a side, opened it, ate half of it or 3/4 of it, a little rice, a little sambar, a little rasam, a little sweet. He left and packed and put it back and left it on the table. That day, at about 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, Sir C.V. Raman felt a little hungry, went to the carrier, opened it. He found a little rice, a little sambar, and it was all left over. He thought, maybe I have eaten. He doesn't remember. He put it back and went to his work. Rishis, great thinkers, great yogis do not pay attention to their bellies. Gautama the Buddha did not pay attention to the bodily comforts because he wanted to search for the truth. Emotional enjoyment. His wife loves me, let her love. Even the emotional enjoyment, Gautama Buddha does not bother. He goes to search for the truth. Satya Anveshana, Satya Sodhana. Swami Vivekananda left the house, became a Parivrajaka. Adi Shankara, at a tender age, took to sannyasa. He has no interest in the bodily comfort. There is no question of his falling in love with somebody or expecting somebody's love or hating somebody, being hated by somebody. He transcended the emotional involvements. He wanted the intellectual truth. And now, beyond that, there is a higher step. 3 words I have used: physical pleasure, emotional enjoyment, intellectual happiness. For the physical pleasures, animals. For the emotional enjoyments, lovers. For the intellectual happiness, thinkers, researchers, scientists, philosophers. Everywhere there are disadvantages. When there is a pleasure, there is a pain. When there is enjoyment, there is a little tension. I love my daughter, I am worried about her. I love my husband, I am anxious about him. I love my business, I am a little disturbed about its success. Emotions are accompanied by the sufficient number of anguishes, worries, tensions. The higher one, when you have the pursuit in intellectual concepts, there is a possibility of your disappointment. You search for truth, you are not likely to get the truth, there may be a disappointment. So, 3 levels: pleasure, pain, enjoyment, anguish, appointment, disappointment. Therefore, at one stage, man thinks, I don't want enjoyments, I don't want pleasures, I don't want happiness. What do you want? I want peace, shanti. Income? No, sir. Expenditure? No, sir. Wife, sir? No, sir. Husband, sir? No, sir. Rasgulla? No. Vada? No. Mathematics? No. Philosophy? No. What do you want? Please leave me peaceful. You reach a level wherein you want only peace. And that is Shanti in Sanskrit, peace in English, P-E-A-C-E. All yoga is to take you to that level of peace. When you lie down in Shanti Asana, Shavasana, you have peace. After the day's work, when you go to bed, peacefully you sleep. Whatever may be the problems, you maintain your peacefulness. In the intellectual pursuits, you may get first class, you may fail in the examination. You are peaceful. The girl may love you, the girl may hate you, it may succeed in marriage or failure. I am peaceful. Food comes, food is taken, I am peaceful. Whether there is food or not, whether there is love or not, whether there is success or not, I am peaceful, peaceful, peaceful. Tulya ninda stutir mauni tadha manava manayoh sitoshna sukha dukkeshu sama sanga vivarjitaha. That state of total peacefulness is what yoga aims at. Pleasures. And from there, there is another thing. Not only peace. Peace should become blissful. It should become Brahmananda. Brahma means big. Ananda means supreme happiness, supreme peacefulness. And that highest, limitless, endless, boundless, infinite peace, Shanti, should become a source of eternal happiness, that is Brahmananda. That's why we find Sri Krishna ever smiling, yogis ever smiling. Even if they get angry, within the anger there is peace. Whatever activity they are engaged in, within the heart they are peaceful. Everything is superficial. Just as there are waves on the surface of the ocean, there will be feelings apparently available among the yogis. In the heart of hearts, they are peaceful. When you maintain that peace at heart and mind, you are free from asthma. You are free from blood pressure. You are free from all the physical ailments. Yoga teaches us that peaceful state. From that peaceful state, we become eligible for Brahmananda. Yoga is to take us to that Brahmananda. The first path is royal path, Raja Yoga. You determine to enjoy that highest. Bhakti is through the feelings. Bhakti means devotion. Devotion is an emotion. Emotion is an excess of a feeling. Feelings are many. Positive feelings, negative feelings. There may be A feeling, B feeling, C feeling, but one feeling is hidden in everybody, and that is prema, love. Show me a person who does not have a heart. Show me a person who does not have a feeling. Show me a person who does not have love. When I say love, it is not love of girl. Some people love woman. Some people love pleasure. Some people love money. Some people love power. Some people love position. Some people love life. Some people may love death. Love is common. No, sir, I don't love life. I don't love death. I don't love anything. You love yourself. What is it you do before coming to this place? You stand before the mirror, brush your hair, tilt your eyebrows, wet your lips, look at yourself, throw a gentle smile. Wonderful man, even at the age of 75. You look very handsome. Okay, you love yourself. What is it that we love most? Our own self. To become merged with the self is yoga. What I love most, I want to identify myself with. That merging with the self, that becoming one with the self, is the source of greatest happiness, and When we proceed so through the feeling of love, it is called Bhakti Yoga. This analysis to know the ultimate is called Jnana Yoga knowledge. This is not permanent. Relative reality, absolute reality. Relative reality is temporary. Absolute reality is permanent. Example, sun rises in the east, real. Sun sets in the west, real. But is it permanently real today only, tomorrow only, in the morning only? But sun, does he rise at all? No. Sun, does he set at all? No. Sun shines always. The truth about sun is he does not set, he does not rise. To know the permanent truth about the sun god is called absolute reality. I am born, is it true? Yes. I die, is it true? Yes. Am I really born and am I really to die? Who am I to be born? Who am I to die? Baby for some time, boy for some time, man for some time, old age for some time. Who is that permanent person? When you know that self, when you know that truth about the whole existence, it is called Jnana Yoga. Now, combination of all the things. First, willpower. Next, feeling power. Next, intellectual power. All these three things, when they are translated into action lovingly, with determination, with your truthful knowledge, then it is called Karma Yoga. Karma is action. What action? Intelligent action. What action? Determined, disciplined action. What action? Loving action, useful action. When our actions are pleasing, when our actions give us happiness, when our actions are truthful, perfect, then it is Karma Yoga. Through the body, mind, intellect equipment, we have to practice these 4 yogas. Determination, willpower, Raja Yoga, and all. There is another yoga that normally people don't highlight. Sir, I cannot be disciplined. I cannot wake up in the morning. I cannot go to the yogasanas. I cannot perform the asanas. I am weak, sir, but I want to be happy, sir. I cannot prepare for the examination, sir. I cannot know the truth and scientific aspects of physics, chemistry, sir, but I want first class, sir. I cannot love anybody, sir. I cannot go to the temple, sir. I cannot offer the coconut, sir. I cannot sing the songs of God, sir. But, sir, I want to have the happiness of good love, sir. I cannot do anything, but I want to be successful. What is success? Peaceful. What is, again, an additional benefit? Peacefully blissful. Blissful means endless happiness is called bliss. B-L-I-S-S. Bliss in English means Brahmananda. Brahma means the infinite, endless, boundless, limitless, countless, immense. That is called Brahmananda. I cannot follow Raja Yoga, but I want to enjoy the bliss. I cannot worship any god, do any loving deed, but I want to be blissful. I cannot perform any activity, rituals, Karma Yoga. I cannot study any scriptures. All the 4 yogas I cannot do, sir. But I want to be blissful, sir. For that, Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, you need not do anything. Don't worry, man. Absolutely need not be a Raja Yogi, you need not be a Bhakti Yogi, you need not be a Karma Yogi, you need not be a Jnana Yogi. But I will give you all the benefits of all the yogas. Then what should I do, sir? Come and fall at my feet, that's enough. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. I shall give you that self-realization. I shall give you that abundant happiness. I shall make you peaceful always. Brahmananda will be granted to you. You hold on to me. How, sir? Bhagavan, everything is your work. I am only an instrument. Arjuna at the end declares, Nasto mohaha smrutir labdhaha tvat prasadanmaya achyuta karishye vachanantava. I am not doing, you are asking me to do, and I am an instrument. I have no individuality of my own. If I am to play, I will play. If I am to dance, I will dance. I am an instrument. This is called Sharanagati. Absolute self-surrender. Paripurna Prapatti Marga. This is the fifth yoga. This is called Sharanagati. This is practiced by Draupadi. There are two types of Sharanagati. Number one, there is a little self-effort. There is absolutely no self-effort. Two types of Sharanagati. Two examples. One example, monkey and monkey's baby. The child monkey holds on to the mother monkey. Mother monkey takes from one place to the other place. The child monkey has to hold on to the mother monkey. This is one type of Sharanagati. The child does not do anything. It holds on to the mother monkey. That is the only thing. Ram, 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 Ram. I will be doing that only, nothing else. Whenever there is a problem, even when there is no problem, I think of Ram, 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 Ram. That is the only thing I do. Everything is taken care of by Rama. Everything is looked after by my mother. Pativrata, wife has nothing to do. It is the husband's headache to book the tickets. It is the husband's headache to make the reservations. It is the husband's headache to carry the luggage. She is only to follow him. This is your birth. I will sleep. Wife has no responsibility. What is the income? She need not know. What is the expenditure? She need not know. What are the office problems? She need not know. The only thing is, everything is provided by the husband. God, Prabhu, Father, Mother. This is one Sharanagati. The second Sharanagati, you have to go behind the husband always. You should go behind your father always. You should hold on to the mother always. Second, the kitten, baby cat, mother cat. What does the baby cat do? Nothing. It simply falls. The mother cat holds the neck of the baby cat, gently takes from one place to the other, feeds it. It is the total responsibility of the mother cat to take care of the baby cat. This is total Sharanagati. Even that holding on is not there. This Prapatti Marga is popularized by Visishtadvaita, Ramanuja. They say, you need not do anything, sir. You please follow. Even that following is not necessary. I will take you. This is the highest yoga. No Raja Yoga, no Karma Yoga, no Bhakti Yoga, no Jnana Yoga. Sonia Gandhi is related to me. I will become tomorrow Prime Minister. She makes me. I need not worry at all. The person who is at the top is my father, my grandfather, my mother, my grandmother. They will take care of me. When God is for us, who is against us? When God is not for us, who can save us? When God is for us, nobody can spoil us. Nobody can trouble us. Anchored fully, all the great devotees end up with Sharanagati. This is the highest. When all the 5 yogas are integrated, when they are all together, when they are all intertwined, all our actions will be good, all our feelings will be perfect, all our approaches will be superb, all our knowledge will be full, and we will end up with this Sharanagati. all the 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita or the 18 yogas, they can be condensed into 4 yogas, Raja Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. They also culminate into the last yoga of Prapatti or Sharanagati, which is full, which is abundant. The people of Ullasanagar have taken to the path of yoga. Let their path be not confined only to the body. It should expand to the mind. It should expand to the intellect. It should combine all the yogas and the benefit should be complete. People who come to this Vivekananda Yoga Kendra must be physically healthy, emotionally happy, intellectually sharp, and there should not be any agony, anguish, worry, tension, problem. Let all the people be always happy. That is the goal of life. When the body is happy, when the mind is happy, when the brain is happy, when the family is happy, when we are always peaceful, then it is called integral yoga. It is for that purpose people like me are now and then called. In addition to physical practices, we give you the intellectual and emotional outlets. There is a balanced yoga, there is a peaceful yoga, there is a blissful yoga, all-round bliss when we enjoy. It is called integral yoga. Thank you very much for listening to me on the integral yoga. Let this Vivekananda Yoga Kendra become a center of integral yoga, harmonious, full and perfect yoga of total peaceful and blissfulness. Thank you very much.